guys, this is Amy Cagle, and we are getting ready to start Unit 2, which is the Customer Work Order Progress Report Assignment. So if you look at the breakdown for Unit 2, you're going to need to read the information about progress reports from Chapter 6. I also have some notes and a sample report that are built in as well that you need to look at. By Tuesday, you need to complete the lecture video, which is this, and the secret word, and the reflection quick write, and then you have an outline due by your middle of the week assignment, and then by the end of the week, you will complete an actual progress report, which we will go over now. So let's first, before we get into the assignment itself, let's talk about what a progress report is. So a progress report is a short written report to inform a supervisor, associate, or customer of the progress you have made on a project over a period of time. So this is for any work assignment that you have that's going to take you an extended period of time to complete. So for example, if you are building a house, you may send quarterly progress reports. So if it's supposed to take you 3 months, you may send bi-weekly progress reports. So every 2 weeks, you are sending a report to the housing manager or to the customer to let them know what has been completed up to that point, what you are currently working on, and what should be completed by the next check-in. So here you're going to go over to design, construction, repair of something. You may go into detail about research you need to complete in order to fulfill a certain thing, and then gather information on technical subjects. You're not going to typically do a progress report on something that's only going to take you like 2 or 3 weeks to complete. This is for something that's going to take you multiple weeks or months to complete, even longer. Because if I'm a customer and I have, if someone's working on my house, I'm going to want updates. And that is what a progress report or a customer work order fulfills. It's updates on what is the happenings in their job that you're trying to do. So in progress reports, you're going to explain how much of the work is completed at that point. What are you currently in progress doing? What work remains to be done? Any problem or unexpected things that have come up, any additional money you may have had to spend that was not anticipated in the initial estimate, and then how the project is going in general. So here's the function. This is why we do it. It reassures the people that you are making progress, that things are going smoothly, that if there is something unexpected come up, that you're letting them know in a timely manner. It gives them a brief look at the findings. It gives them a chance to evaluate the work. So maybe they can give you some updated feedback of what you've done up to that point. You can, like I said, discuss problems. It gives you a work schedule. So not only does it establish that there's a work schedule in place for the people who are currently looking at it, but it also establishes a work schedule for you. So you stay on target. That way you don't have to keep saying, well, I wanted to have this accomplished, but now it's going to take 2 more weeks. It makes you stay on target with what you promised. And it gives a sense of professionalism that you're not doing anything sneaky, that you are keeping them in the loop. So timing and format. So in a year's time, you may have 3 progress reports every 3 months, 6 months, or 9 months. And you may honestly want to have more than that depending on what's asked by the customer. If you're doing progress reports for an internal situation, like for a boss, you would include a memo in front of that. If it's going to a customer, you may have a letter, and then attached to either the memo or the letter is your actual formal report. So here's the pattern of progress. You're going to include the work accomplished for preceding periods. You're going to include then the work being performed and then the work planned for the next period. Don't forget ABC. You will have a memo or letter attached to the progress report that has the abstract, body, and conclusion. So you need an opening paragraph for the abstract that introduces the project topic with a summary of the project. The body is going to have the specific objectives, the scope or limits, and the research gathered. And the assessment or appraisal of the project at this time will go into the conclusion. So, revision checklist. Make sure you're using the right format. That is super important. Make sure that you have a clear opening paragraph reminding what project you're working on. This could be that you're working with someone who flips houses, so they have multiple projects going on at one time. So if you just say, this is Joe's student from the project, they may not know what project it is. So make sure you're introducing what project it is. Make sure you're using headings to mark off different parts of your progress report. Use lists if lists are appropriate. Provide specific, don't be vague. The purpose of a progress report is to be specific, is so they will know what's happening in their project specifically, not just kinda. And it addressed realistic things. Addressed it to the real audience, not to your instructor. So if you're not speaking to me, Amy Cagle, you're going to be speaking to William Defoe, project manager, or something like that. So here is the assignment. So you're going to write a work order for a customer outside of your organization. So because of it being outside the organization, you must use a letter, not a memo. So keep that in mind. You can use any type of work that relates to your job or what you're studying to be. So if if you want to go into construction, you can talk about building a house. If you're working with the Richards Petty Auto School, you can do something about a car. If you are working at a plant, you can do something about equipment, anything like that. It must be in ABC format. So the memo or the letter that's attached to it needs to have that abstract body and conclusion. And within that abstract body and conclusion, you need to talk about the work accomplished, being performed, and what's planned for next. Throughout the report, you should use headings and subheadings to break down information. Summary of the project, specific objectives, scope or limits, research gathered, or the assessment appraisal of the project at the time. So what I want to do now is show you two things you've got to be able to accomplish. Thing one is the outline, and that's your middle of the week assignment. This is your first longer piece. So it is smart to outline yourself. So you do not have to do this in complete sentences necessarily, but what you will do is you will download this and you will fill it in and then re-put it back into Moodle. So the abstract is the purpose of the project or the scope and timeline of the project. The body is the summary, the specific objectives, work being performed, scope or limits, overall objective, work plan, conclusion, overall assessment, and when you think it should be completed. So that is the outline. Fill that in, put it back into Moodle. And then you are going to complete the progress report itself. So I'm going to show you what that needs to look like. So you need to mimic this as close as possible with it being your own work, obviously. So we have a letter on the first page. So that letter is ABC Lumber. That's the company. Ron Smith is the person he's talking to. This is the address and phone number. The date that he put in the thing, his name, he's with William Auto Repair, and then his address. And then the subject. That's the letter format. Dear Mr. Smith, this did need a colon, not a comma. So he's got his abstract. I want to thank you for trusting Williams Auto Repair with your company car repairs. I need to give you an update. So that's the purpose of the progress report. The body is attached. You will find a progress report on your company car status. I've included, we completed. That's the body. And then we have been delayed. So the conclusion is just kind of wrapping it up. Sincerely, his name, auto mechanic should have, his title, his company, and then it should say attached progress report. Make sure that you put that attached progress report piece so they know that they have something that should be with it. That way, if it doesn't show up, they can reach out and say, I thought a progress report was supposed to be attached. All right, the next page is the progress report itself. So my first header is the title of the progress report. Rebuild engine block and refurbish head. At the time of the car drop off, it was determined that the engine block needs a rebuild and the head refurbished. I estimate a time frame to take about 3 months. So this is just what is the project and the estimated amount of time. Then you have the completed task. So an explanation of what's been completed up to this point. This should be specific. You could also include money and what money has been spent up to this point. Are we at the estimate price? Are we above it? Are we below it? The current task, what's happening now? And then final task, so what's next? What do we have moving in? So think about that as you are creating this. This is all it is. It is not very long, but it does have two parts, the letter and the progress report. So if you only turn in the progress report, the highest grade you can get is a 50 because you've only done half of the assignment. If you only turn in a letter and you've got all the progress report information in the letter, you will not get full credit either. A progress report has two pieces, the cover letter and the progress report itself. So do make sure that you are completing these things that they need to be completed. If you have any questions, make sure you reach out to me during my office hours via email. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful day.